Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session today. Well, here we are, Paco. How was your week?
Yeah. Well, it was great. And the weekend even more.
Yeah, you had your convention, right?
Correct. Yeah. We
So,
had
yeah,
a lot of fun. We shared a lot of feelings, emotions, and knowledge. And knowledge. Business knowledge management.
yeah, correct. In real person, real humans, over
Yeah.
70. How many people are there now?
Yeah. We went up to that number
Yeah.
and it was fun.
And I think
It was
that
good.
could be an interesting topic to start the session today to talk a bit more about this because it has a lot more to do with AI than you might think on the surface, right? So you have a
Right.
marketing agency with around 70 people, and these are real humans. And you implemented AI in this business. I think it's a very good use case to show it is worth having this. And you told me this morning about it a bit, and I'm curious to learn more about now. Um, as you shared on this convention, the people working with you sharing how they use AI, and you even created your slide deck for this convention using
Right.
AI, right? But here's the critical thing. I saw maybe you can share a few slides right so we can
Yeah, no.
thing, and then we
I
see
will.
actually the quality output if you have a right system in place that actually
Yeah.
makes this look so good
What?
and not just a one prompt message.
Yeah, correct. And for me, it's not just the design, okay? Because maybe you can do a pretty nice design, okay? Just not having a productivity system in place. But the thing is how I organize the ideas that I wanted to communicate. I think that that's the pivotal moment. Compare because I made a comparison from how I approach this story because we have an annual convention, okay? So I can compare from one year to another, and the leap, it's literally insane. It has nothing to do one to each other, not only at a design level, okay,
Yeah.
but also the structure and how I prepare the presentation, okay. I was grabbing a lot of information and inspiration from the outer world or even my own thoughts into my PKA, as we call from quite a long time ago, a PKA system, okay, that it's a personal knowledge management assistant instead of personal knowledge management, okay, because it really assists the person who's using it. And I think that that's the amazing thing, okay, because I started before starting the presentation, I share my thoughts, the key messages I wanted to communicate, the main ideas, okay? And based on that and all the content that I have previously stored linked to that project, because it was a project, the convention, okay? Well, the presentation of the convention, okay? Plus all the knowledge, all the context that my PKA system has in place, it delivered an initial draft from where I could start working seamlessly. And it's amazing, okay? The output is amazing. It delivers 60 something slides, perfectly designed, talking about the structure, everything so well fitted to the brand I wanted to communicate and the style to create the right atmosphere and enforcing the key messages in a way that I have never seen.
Yeah.
Okay, and
And
this is the
last
distinction. Okay,
and
between
last time we
using tools that use AI, like for instance, Gamma. I think it was the name, if I'm not wrong, of the tool I used the um, the last year. Okay, because Gamma is a solution specifically designed to prepare presentations. Okay, but it has nothing to do the outcome compared to the
yeah,
outcome that
and
I
before
have
we, talk
generated.
through
Yeah.
it, we can share it along the way. I just want to mention here, last time we talked about Claude Design and showed how this works and so on. But after this week, I compared it to the output that my own AI team can create based on the structure that we use. And it is just beyond because it has full context and can work in my company's context versus in Claude Design, I still need to feed it with my context, and there's a back and forth that is not worth it. So I'm curious if you created a slide deck that you show in a moment with Claude Design, or did you use your local PKA system there?
Well, I made a mix of them,
yeah.
okay, because the ideas came out of my PKA, but I use um, Claude Design to the design
to
and well,
create
the
the
polishing
slides.
and all the style, okay? But
Okay.
I have to say that no matter that I'm happy with the outcome, I'm not happy about first the number of tokens that it consumes.
The
Okay, it
Claude, you talk about Claude Design that you're not
Claude
happy.
Design,
Yeah.
correct design. I ran out of tokens, okay, and then I had to create another account, okay, be charged again, and also the time it takes to deliver the outcome. It's well, right now it's not
Nah, it's not worth it.
enough, okay, for a busy professional. I'm talking about 60 something, slides. Each of them took a lot, okay, and all the polishing. For me, it took, I think, around 6 hours to prepare this story, and for me, that's too long. Okay, that's too long. If I would have done it directly from my PKA, I'm sure that it would have delivered things much faster. But well, I wanted to try it out so that we can share our thoughts and our feelings, and that's how I felt. Anyway, the outcome was impressive, okay, but the speed wasn't good enough in my opinion. But well, we are talking about the first version of Claude Design. We will see what happens, but the thing is that the moment that you control, as we recommend, Claude Code with your PKA and everything perfectly defined due to the agents you create and how you create the structure, and even having databases and a file system behind, I think that it has no competitor, even just using Claude products in any other type of feature or product or service that they deliver.
Yeah, and we will also look into the membership in a moment because there's a huge design overhaul there too. And I was shocked the last week when I worked with my agents in Claude, revamping the whole website. I mean, it is obviously structure-wise, but the refining of design, it seems like it really is again Claude Code under the hood who understands design better and all how things work together, that they might now, like co-work, they made a new product, Claude Design, but the capabilities are just streamlined in there to use it. And of course, if you have no clue, use Claude Design and you will get amazing outputs there already that you can use, because we talk here about existing systems that we like, the IPA system, as we call it now, Intelligent Process Automation. This is the system that I'm using with my agents, managing the myICOR website and all this. And with this context in mind, they knew already the design language and all this. I don't need to create a separate design system in Claude Design and update this manually over time and so on. But before we look into this, I'm curious now about the slides. You're not sharing yet, right?
No, I was waiting. I'm respectful, man.
Well, just starts. You can start sharing. I'm the one who pulls the trigger. So, okay, I start now here. There we go. There we go.
Okay.
I love already the bold fonts. And this already, to me, I mean, it's stupid because it is just a number, a small text on top, and the logo on the bottom right. But you could immediately tell if this is AI slop or not, just based on such a thing. Usually makes small letters and things like this. But to me, this looks, I cannot distinguish it.
Yeah, no. For me, obviously, I'm not a designer at all. Obviously, I've been running a marketing agency for more than 2 decades. So, well, I'm in touch with the world of design, and I love design at all levels. Okay, not just graphic design, but interior designs, furniture, houses, whatever. Okay, I appreciate a lot design in technology. Okay, that's why I love Apple and this type of things. Okay, but the thing is that I wanted to put the things to the limit. Okay, trying to do as less as possible so that I force the things. And here I just said at the part of the prompt that I created, just create something impactful. Okay, the way I like to communicate, I don't like a lot of text inside my presentations. Okay, for me it's just an outline so that I have some guardrails and I don't talk too much, something I tend to do. And based on that, and well, all the context it had, the main ideas I wanted to communicate, okay, it created the structure, okay, the structure of, well, sorry, it's in Spanish, okay, but here it creates this Act 1, okay, it created 7 different sections that made all the sense, talking about how I think, okay, because that's the thing, okay, I want to create a presentation that really delivers the thing the way I would do it, okay, that's why it's so important to have the context, to have, well, I don't know how many journal entries it has about how I like to express myself, well, all the golden nuggets that I generate for the myICOR portal. Also, well, the articles are right. So, well, it has a perfect knowledge of how I like to express the things, okay? But the thing is how it starts combining the branding of the presentation. I just wanted 3 different colors, okay? As you can see here, white, black, and orange, okay? It was, I cannot find right now the original photo, but well, it created all the background.
Yeah, the
okay?
process here was just that you shared the photo with the AI, correct, and it created the slide out of it, right?
Correct. And everything you're seeing here, I didn't do anything at all, not even the content. I just shared some things. Okay, I say that Tito, that it's my business partner in the agency. Well, he made this. Okay, he started 2 years ago, because the comparison was what he made and said about ChatGPT 2 years ago versus what we have in place nowadays, and this clearly shows, well, the impact that these things have had. And here, let's look just as how it created, all this blurry thing, little by little, creating the sensation of emotion also. This is a static PDF, okay? This is important also. But here, you see, here I start creating the things. It creates different styles, but inside an overall design, okay, that creates the sense of coherence, okay, and combining, okay, he decided to create the size of the fonts, how to structure the text. Also, when it's a quote, well, he decides to do it this way. As you can see, there's something that looks like homogeneous, but it has its subtleties, okay, so that it doesn't become boring, that it was something that I wanted to communicate. And well, here I can keep going and going and going, okay? But that's the thing, that this was just in the first attempt, I have to say, because the rest was just polishing, okay? Defining things. And here,
I love this one.
Type of things, you see? Because here it seems that it's dynamic, and these are just slides moving forward, okay? But for me, more than enough, okay, to present something to a group of people, okay? I think it looks professional, okay? And 100%. It delivers the thing. It was 6 hours, but I dedicated my time to be the architect, okay? To define the main things I wanted to communicate, and not, dedicating time to all the things that I dedicated in the past, obtaining a much worse outcome, okay? Because that was the thing, okay?
And here I want to mention that this is now the reference for next time. That's the thing. You already, correct, the next iteration, you will reference back to here. And the 6 hours you spent here was just designing and, getting an idea what you want in the first place. All this, which is correct, insane. If you haven't touched any text in these slides and positioning, that's amazing. But what is important here, there was no friction receiving the information and the leverage of the knowledge that you've built over the years due to the daily journaling that you do and the structured information, and everything is interconnected. So this way, I guess, you just, leveraged what you had there in order to create a slide deck. And that's the same insane insights that I get every time I just ask a question about my knowledge base and I start create content non-stop out of it. And I get perspectives in a way. So this is now your mindset app.
Correct. I'm going to share here, for instance, how I started.
Maybe you can zoom in.
Because, for instance, yes, for sure. Here, this is the PKA, okay?
Yeah.
Well, the front end of
That's
the
what
PKA.
We teach inside myICOR in the courses, yeah.
Correct. And here in projects, I got this project, okay? Convention 2026, okay? And here are the journal entries where I started, linking things, okay? Here you can see the IKEA example, okay? Where I share the it was something that I found on the internet, okay? And here, well, here there are the coaching coming from one of my agents, that is Visus, okay? That is the one that, well, coaches me about businesses. And the thing is that here, I got everything, okay? If I want to go, this is the reference, okay? I capture, okay, the workflow, to explain it quickly. I capture this via Slack, okay? And Slack brings it here, okay, to the inbox. This is the entry, okay? And here I have everything, okay? Here it creates everything. And based on the agent that manages the inbox, it creates this journal entry, okay? That is pretty well enriched, okay? This has nothing to do with the original text. I think that that's the important thing, okay? And here I reply. This is an entry that I reply, and here it's my reply. But I wanted to use it, okay? And this is how it came. But I wanted to use something that I found here, that is the 5 stages of AI Grief. And here you see there's an image, because this entry had an image, and it was the one I used to inspire me and inspire my PK to create something different, because no matter that the stages are the same, the content behind is not the same, okay? Yeah. It's the one that I wanted to deliver, and it's the one that you have said that you liked, okay? Here, these are the 5 different, you can see on top, okay? These are the exact same from, and I want to highlight this because this is just a small drop in the ocean, okay? I came out because I know that people, especially professionals, are always dealing with information in the outer world, and they want to get advantage of it, okay? How do I capture? How do I reuse? How do I move this from action, you know, from information to action? Well, that was the workflow. Yeah. I found out this on the internet. I capture it, okay? Send it to my system. And the thing is that I didn't, you know, I just say, well, this belongs to the project of the convention. That was it, natural language. It created, okay, the entry, it creates the coaching, because the coaching gives me different insights and perspective, okay? And I think that this is something important. And based on that, it linked it to the project, okay? So the moment that I created the presentation, I just say, go to all these journal entries and take them as context, because imagine the context that this has, okay? It's not just the piece of content that I capture. It's that this is insane, okay? Sorry, I went to another one. This is insane, okay? This content coming out of, well, a first distilling that creates this description, okay, of the entry. But this coming from one of my agents, plus this that creates the connections, okay? This is how I can connect Henry Ford with IKEA, and at the end, you are delivering an insane amount of knowledge, okay? You are not delivering information, you are delivering knowledge, insights, something that the people will feel, well, shocked, okay? How this guy has combined context and concepts, sorry, from different areas, okay? And here it's how, because here I can see everything, okay? And can navigate to the inbox capture. I can navigate, okay? I can go backwards, okay? And go back. And here it's how I think that you can perfectly understand how powerful a PKA is. If I compare,
and I just want to mention here, for those who are confused what you just shared, this is your self-built application using Claude. You built this the same as we use it to build our membership platform and everything. But you could access all this information just through the Claude desktop app or terminal too, because it's a local database that you can access. So you could just talk back and forth with this too. You just showed now the front end and the nice structuring, but the core is really the back end databases that get connected. And this is where the knowledge graph grows in the back end for AI to easily understand the connections automatically, because AI creates these connections and not you anymore manually. And that's why we're in the new era of PKA, personal knowledge assistance, rather than PKM, personal knowledge management, which was always manual in the past. And this was the friction when it came to the thinking process and to the creative process. And this applies to so many places, because you mentioned the cross connection between Henry Ford and IKEA and so on. But I think about big data analysis that I did in Incorporate back then, manually writing queues and prompts, not prompts, SQL queues and so on.
Yeah.
What a different era we are entering here, and how I would approach this. And people always think it's all or nothing, and it will replaces the jobs, but in fact it is unleashing the expertise and creativity, and can focus on the solution finding rather than the friction of loading up the data, find the data in the database, and write prompts or queues and so on. And this applies also to close the loop here to your own personnel, right? Your designers and so on. They leverage AI now too. So they presented on this convention their own inventions and insights.
Correct. Yes, and how they are using, because when you put into the hands of really creative people, okay, I have to say that the data, okay, that it was kind of shocking for me. The youngest person talking about the moment they came into the agency, okay, it was 5 years ago, okay, when that person came. So we have a pretty well consolidated people of senior people, okay, people who have been with us. Well, some people even since the beginning, okay, 20 something years ago. And it's amazing the moment that you have that knowledge, okay, of people, okay, who are really prepared, and you put into their hands a tool like this one. It's amazing, okay. The outcomes that they produce, well, there was one of, well, coming from the creative department, it was, well, it was a movie, okay. It was the topic of the convention, okay, was the Far West, okay, the old Far West, okay, and it was a movie, okay, a movie with the different people of the different departments inside the movie. Well, it was amazing, but amazing it was how long it took, okay, because it took something like 6 to 8 hours, okay, so the exact same time that I dedicated to prepare my presentation,
they created a whole movie. There we go.
Yes, these guys created a movie, so that's why I'm so confident that this will leverage the knowledge of people. I have to say that by creating this presentation, I learned, okay, about it. And I want to share something here so people start connecting the dots, because yes, out of curiosity, I use the connection that I have with Slack to, instead of using Claude terminal, okay, I'm using Slack to attack my database and see what happens. And here, as you can see, it's just 1 minute.
You need to increase size again, please.
Yeah, I will increase. But here, I got a channel here that it's called Mindset. Okay, that is the name of my.
So for those who don't know, Slack is a communication platform that we used for 7 years before, and the whole years with Paco too, in communicating with the team. That's a team communication platform, and it evolved now into something else, but in the end it's still a team communication platform, but with amazing accessibility through APIs. So you can connect it to any tools already in the past. So we used it, connecting it with tools like Zapier or make.com to automate notifications if a new member signed up and so on. All this came here too. And now it's the other way around, where Paco sends information towards AI. That's what you might have seen already with OpenClaw, that you can use Telegram and WhatsApp, and you can now do this already also with Claude. So instead of using Telegram, he's using Slack, and I will do too, because the big advantage, as you will see in a moment, is the threaded conversations. If I'm inside a Telegram or WhatsApp or iMessage, there's only one long thread with mixed information. And if you use a proper team communication system like this, or in ClickUp, they have something similar, then you can stay in threads, and therefore you stay inside topics, right? You will show this in a moment anyway, but just want to set the stage.
The thing is that here it's the prompt, okay, that you will ask to. We can do the exact same thing, okay, in terminal if we want to, okay. I just wanted to.
Well, you can show the message down there, right? The original message before you go into the thread. You see it on the left side in the center column.
It is this one. It is this one. Well, it
Yeah,
is
we
this
don't
one.
see your mouse, so just be aware.
Okay,
So you have to
sorry.
highlight to see. Yeah, exactly. So this was the original message that you sent
This one. Okay.
just in this
This
chat
is
box, and it created this thread with by replying.
okay.
Your mindset bot there
Okay.
just
Correct.
replied to your message.
Correct. Reply and say yes, because I said, do you have anything about AI grief? Okay, that is the image that I use for my presentation. Okay, and he said, obviously, yes, you have this capture from April 20th. Okay,
And as you can
here
see,
we can see
5 minutes ago, you just did this for the video here, right? So you just asked it right now. It was live.
Yeah. I can keep okay.
And it's
I can
instant.
keep asking, you know, here I can keep the conversation going. What it's
well, can it share the image? That is something I'm really curious if it can show the image.
Yes, I will bring here because it's stored locally. Okay, and I think that this is
no. I mean, if the AI can send it into the thread, the image itself.
Ah, well, we will see. It's something that I never tried.
Yeah,
okay?
That's something I'm curious because that's something on the go. If I want to review a thumbnail or something like this, that's really crucial.
But the thing is that I'm convinced that if it's not possible, it's because I didn't give the permission to the API.
But the API is certainly capable.
Have the journal an image? Okay, let's see.
Well,
right now I have to say that I'm talking to my iMac at home. That's why I'm using a Slack. Okay.
Yeah, iMac, yeah.
And we will see. But the thing is that, well, meanwhile, we can see it here in the context of the 5 stages of AI graph from your view. Denial is AI can relate to what I do is the first stage. Okay. And here we can see how I'm talking to an image that I have captured. Okay. That it was the one that I use here that you shared, to represent. Yeah. This is one. Okay. This means denial. Okay. Yes, it's such an image. Sentinel file. Well,
yeah, just ask if you can share it here in the chat. That's what I'm curious. Ah, you said you didn't give the permissions. Yeah, forget it.
Okay, so correct. So the moment I have, but I have here. Okay, this is what I'm. This is something.
But we are not diving too deep into this now because that's something we will certainly do in the coming weeks. Well, you just mentioned this morning that you will write a whole article about how you set this up, and this will become available.
Something that I do, and we can do the other way around because this goes the other way around. Okay, here I share. This is one photo of the convention. Okay, I send in via Slack on mobile. Okay, I just put, and here it created, because this is something important, it created the journal entry, okay? And if I go now to the front end and I go to journal, okay? And I go to here, this is the journal entry, we can see that here I got the image, okay? It came from a Slack, but it created everything, okay? It created here the key insights of the entry. It creates an analysis again from Bezos, okay? And it created everything just by, because this is for me the thing, okay? The thing is that I just shared the photo and I just say, Neo Convention 2026. That's it, okay? That's it. Here, the AI system say message received, okay? Capture one message, okay? And triage on autopilot as journal, okay? He identifies based on the rules and the setup of the agent, okay? That, and here it assigns to the right bucket, it decides that it's a type of milestone, okay? And tag it perfectly, okay? And here it describes what he has, okay? With 30 people in Cowboy Western, look how everything is perfectly streamlined, okay? And this is the moment that capturing things and having a proper PKM that really delivers results, okay? It's the moment that that this goes to another level.
This is amazing. Yeah, and it's similar to how I use this. And again, in Telegram, I made it to work that it sends back the images too, and I have no doubt in Slack it's working the same way. But the amazing thing is here that you can have the different threads in Telegram. I saw people setting up different channels so they can talk to different agents, and this is all nonsense, because if you have an orchestrator and you only have this one single point of contact, you can talk whatever you like, and having threads, you can now launch different instances of this, talking about different topics asynchronously, so I don't have to wait there or finish one thing and start with the next sequentially. I can really work in parallel, and that's what I did with my team. So let's go to to the amazing 5.0 update of our membership.
Much more amazing than this demo.
Well, that was already amazing. I'm pretty sure many people are now thinking about how they can leverage this, because this is what people underestimate. What can I use this for? And the thing is, what is for most people missing is the long-term leverage, until they realize, man, this is just accelerating the more I use it. This is insane. And this is the moment where you see the real benefit of using AI in your workflows and in business, and not putting AI on top and running your overall business, instead of the human beings there. That is nonsense so far, and it is not replacing the people, or at least the experts, anytime soon. And here, I just need to share this way. 1 second. That's the wrong one. Of course, again, it keeps switching. Well, and let's look at this channel here. Okay, here we are in our new version, which is obviously structural. The structure is the same. The database in the backend same. But what I kept iterating was the UI of the website and our brand design and design language. And there was a question inside the chat asking if we have a brand design Claude file or a brand.md file for your slides, but also here for this. I guess you iterated on this design the first time, and now you didn't share the comparison to Gamma. Just trust us, it's a whole different world. Showing maybe in the end
I can at any moment. I can at any moment. We can do it because this.
Well, let's do it before we move on, because I think that's to close the thing about the slide deck. That would be good.
Yeah, we finished the loop with this.
Correct.
It's just 1 minute. I got it here.
Nah, we don't have a minute, Paco. This needs to go faster. Not faster.
Yeah. I remember when we had, podcast episodes of 15, 20 minutes, and now we say, well, we will stick to 1 hour, and at the end, as we are...
Yeah, just because you need to search for the images.
and we love to do this type of things.
This is the year before.
Here you can see.
And this is done, it looks to me, really, it looks like, you stitched this together in PowerPoint, and yet it was already done with Gamma. And maybe you can get out a lot more of Gamma. But the moment Gamma opened up MCP access via AI, I used it too. And I was not happy with the output. It didn't get the point what I want. And this is the moment where I just tested to create my own slide decks. And this is what you will see. And I switch now to my screen again. Yeah. This is what you now...
I felt happy with that.
Yeah, of course. And it was probably, well, you even mentioned that you were congratulated by team members that this was a great, but they have been shocked probably with what you produced this year, right?
What a shame. I think that's the sense of evolution. When you feel shame of your past, okay, I think that's it. The moment that you say, well, I have evolved.
But this is here now the new AI library, and this is really the AI team that I'm using in the business, AI agents that work for me every day. And they are plug-in agents now that you can add to your own system, because they will onboard themselves and asking you questions about your brand design. So it will create anything necessary. And as you can see, I just opened it up, I don't know, an hour ago. 7 downloads, 10 people viewed it. And this is, for example, Charter. And she is creating the slide decks and everything for me. That's the moment she was born, when I said, I think we can you test to create slide decks yourself instead of Gamma? And then she created the first thing. And I thought, what the heck? And this is where I kept iterating for 2 months. And this is the version that I'm using now. And you can just download the zip file, give it to your Claude and say, let her work for me. If you actually have the basics of the courses that we offer, right, which is the foundations course now, which is a hands-on workshop course, as we call it now. And in this course, you do step-by-step create the system exactly as we are using it. And if you want to fast track, you can even download the folder structure and the files and everything that we use. It's just running on local folders. you point your Claude, your Codex, your Gemini on it. That's something people underestimate. And I will make videos about it, that you can run this with any model. It's really model agnostic. And then you can plug in any pre-made agents if you want to, or you just hire it by your HR agent here. So for example, talking about the design, for me, a crucial agent is Iris, or Iris in German, and she is aware of all the guardrails inside our design system for myICOR. And there I have to say, I made the first iteration of our UI in March, I think, or even earlier, February, where we got the first new refinement of the UI, UX on the app. And now with Opus 4.7, I ran the same thing again, and this was insane. I mean, in literally in one day, we had a complete overhaul of everything on the code base. It is especially because we have now the 1 million token window in Opus. So this great model has the full context of the code base and the connections. So now having Larry, the orchestrator, who is just delegating the work that I said, we need to audit this, look up the best practice. What should we do for our brand to make it more readable and all these things? He went out and just briefed now Iris, and she started working together with Felix. He's the front-end developer, and they just kept working back and forth. She created a plan. I was always possible to read through the plan, and it makes perfect sense. I mean, that's important. You cannot just give it a prompt and say, that's it. But this is where, if you have properly defined agents who do just one thing really great, and an orchestrator who connects everything together, but based on your business context and not because Claude decides to launch several agents in parallel and so on. This is insane what happened here, and this is where it is just keeps going further and further. So also, that's where you cannot just simply say, build me a new discussion area. That's where you say, give me some examples, and I can share with you. For example, I think they are no longer there, but I can show. I created, or I let the team create a Shed CDN demo. And here, obviously, now it's everything revamped already. That's why you don't see these drastic differences anymore. But here it created a new version as it would look after the rollout versus the current version on the same page. So it had all the components and everything available. And it was insane. That's the old model. And I'm not sure if it is updated yet. Yeah, it is. And now, yeah, I updated the models, and that's why we get an error now. But this was the first thing. So I was visually able to really see the comparison and see if it was, and I was shocked by the first iterations that made to make, the informed decision, do we move forward or not with this? And this is where every day I'm shocked with how it works compared to the previous day. It is insane. And this is not stopping for sure, but I'm also not scared that I get replaced by this, because impossible. That you need to be the engineer, you need to have the vision still, you need to have experience, how should everything work together. So you need to be able to think the product or the outcome. If not, AI will generate something for you, but it won't be something special. So now I think this is a good moment to close the session today, because you shared your slide deck with the same conclusions again as I did. I used the IPA system here for the revamp of the website, which is I share quickly again to show this. And I shared, if you go to the channel, you see the latest video. I talk about this in more detail if you want to watch it. But here, the foundations course gives the basic structure of this AI team, where you have the orchestrator, and then you have a HR person hiring any future agents that are made for you. So you just tell Larry, can you help me with this work stream or with this work? and then he's not able to because he's not allowed. He will reach out to HR asking, hey, we don't have a team member for that. And then HR will reach out to the third agent in this orchestration here. He is the research guy. So he goes online and research for the best possible person to fit this job. So literally a person, and then what the HR person is doing, building this in a virtual moment. And once you have this foundation, you can then go wild, because here now that's the difference. That's what Paco talked about, myPKA, personal knowledge assistance. In this course, you build out exactly the things like daily journaling, how you can upload all these things. Here, this is an example then where you have a situation like, had coffee with Dr. Smith today. She suggests you look into 3D printing, and your journal agent perfectly understands, connects, creates a card for your Dr. Smith in the CRM system. So you have the context and everything linked together on autopilot through AI. What we have done manually, and we've been very efficient doing it using Tana, Heptabase, where we connected things together. But all this manual work, you just now throw the things in, and it works out of the box after this course. Or as I said, you just simply download. Oops, now I clicked on it. Or you simply download it, and everything has the prompt sheets. You just copy it in to follow along all these things. So this is where this is the foundation. It's model agnostic, it's tool agnostic, it's just a local folder that you have there, and you point your AI on it, and you will be amazed what's happening. And with this foundation, you then can, if you want, expand it with the pre-made agents that I use daily, or you build your own by just telling it. And if you go into and we're not diving too deep into this now, but if we go through the comments on these lessons, this is confirming that it actually works outside of our own business, because this is it. It is built to move our businesses forward. And here, plural, businesses, your marketing business, you have 3 other businesses, well, ours, right? myICOR and Paperless Movement, and then 2 more. Guys, if somebody says AI is hype and we make real money with this by saving time and focusing and accelerating content production and all these things without generating AI slop on YouTube, to make, hey, that's a multi-million dollar business by just let it generate this trash. No, man. It is actual work streams that we converted into previously already in automations, right? That was already possible. But now with this AI, you have automations that are not so strict, so you're much more flexible. Well, we could go on endless now.
I think that we are living all the dreams that we always envision. Yeah. Okay, so how we can interact with technology, helping us without any friction at all to deliver the outcomes that we expected. But the thing is that not just the outcomes that we expected. The thing is that they go far beyond, because that's the thing. I was shocked about the presentation, not just about the design, because this is something that, well, people can discuss or say whatever. But the thing is how is it structured my thoughts, okay, the way I think, and for me it brought clarity. It brought clarity to my speech, okay. For me, all the main blocks were perfectly defined and perfectly, okay, implemented in the presentation. And the thing is that it sounded like a natural conversation, but I was delivering the key messages. We have to take into account that this is one convention that we have just one per year. So for me, it's the moment, okay, to deliver the key messages for the whole year. So it's pretty important and significant for us. And for me, it's the best ever by far, talking about everything, okay? Talking about the design, but mainly the structure and how to communicate key messages that they will convert into results for sure, okay? I think that the moment that you become a much better communicator, with the moment that you bring clarity to the table, to the main goals for the company for a whole year, I think that pays off far, okay, by far. I don't care about spending a second license in this case to use Claude Design, because it totally pays off. And well, that was just the testing. Okay, from
Well,
now
as I
on,
said,
I'll
I
keep
mean, the
doing
big
the thing.
push that I did for the website and for membership, this was over $1,000 on, because I ran out of max plan $200, obviously. It was not only the revamp, there was the complete overhaul of the courses and many things that ran in parallel on top of this. And therefore, I was then paying API costs. And that's something, if you really in this thing and you see clearly the return of investment and the speed you can move forward, then it makes sense to spend this money, because within 24 hours we had completely everything done. And I was in the momentum. I don't have to interrupt myself and wait. And this is where well, if you pay for $1,000 tokens, you get a 30% discount on Claude, at least for now. And this is something that was worth an investment. I didn't use everything up, and this is to keep things going. I just wanted to
Yeah, and I
show.
think that
Yeah.
what you have mentioned about the clarity of the momentum, because the thing that the outcomes comes really fast, okay, is the moment that you have everything perfectly defined in your mind, okay, and that speed is what allows to do quickly iterations, because for you it's crystal clear, okay, you are not delaying something into several days. I remember that in the old days I dedicated several days to prepare the presentation at all levels, structure, bringing information in, creating the design, looking for the images. All that creates that at the end the outcome cannot be as good as just one big push where everything is crystal clear, where you are not wasting energy, okay, talking about your thoughts and your thinking process in things that are operational, okay. You are thinking about the main things, the real value that you can deliver by your knowledge, your experience, and what you want to do. And I think that that's something that is not easy to define the cost of that, but for me, for me, my time is everything. And the moment that I'm dedicating my time and energy to things that I'm not good at, I'm wasting time and money for sure. Okay. If I dedicate 10 hours for the design, the strict graphic design of a presentation, I'm wasting time. If I dedicate that time to my real strength, I will deliver much more. And the moment that you start scaling things person by person inside your business is the moment that the business itself starts to compound and to real deliver.
Yeah. And I just wanted, and it's still the wrong monitor here, but let's quickly address the questions. Oh, what the heck? Too many things at the same time sometimes. Well, it needs to work this way now.
Okay, it does.
It's small and whatever, but we can address it. At least you can see it a bit, at least on a big monitor. I will be conducting an online conference for key stakeholders to update them. And Alfred is just sharing what you just shared there already, the inspiration to leverage it in the same way. And I think this is exactly it. If I imagine incorporate when I prepared these slide decks, man, this took hours and hours just finding and collecting the information together, this alone. And then still making the insights based on your expertise, but having this additional input or perspectives that you get on this is just insane. And then Michael
Yes,
is
and
asking.
also, by the way, I would just add that this possibility, okay, of just capturing something in the go, because this is something that I've been preparing, randomly based on capturing ideas that emerge out of the blue at any moment, okay, at any moment during month, but without distilling them or whatever, okay, just throw the things in and the AI takes care of it and store it properly. So the moment that I go all in to prepare the presentation is the moment that you have everything in place ready to go. And I think that that combination of being able to capture anything, no matter where you are, because that's why I show the Slack implementation, because no matter where you are, the device that you have at your hands, okay, you can perfectly keep going on the things that emerge. And then when you are on desktop, okay, and start working on that, you have everything prepared and you have an amazing context for AI.
And by the
And this
way,
is the end
you not
result.
only, I know that you're not using this, but sharing your audio messages is exactly
Oh, yeah.
the same. People just prefer to talk. You share it in
Mm-hmm.
Slack or whatever you build, because you can build it your way. And then this gets converted. So imagine you just talk and you keep filling your daily journal on the walk, because this is the way you do it. I can certainly imagine me doing it this way. This is just no boundaries anymore of the type of content that you capture. It will get converted into a proper daily journal entry, but with full context to read. In day one, a journaling app that we both used, you had this very good that you were able to capture anything, but there was no way to connect things together. And then we used
Yeah.
something like Mem and other tools to make daily journaling to get this context out. And well, now everything merged together, and I'm not using any of these tools anymore.
Yes, because imagine there I show, I don't know, 15 different journal entries. Imagine your time going through entry by entry, okay?
Yeah.
Deciding where it fits in the presentation, how you connect the dots. What the heck, man? This is
Yeah, and that's the people who
insane, but
say
that was,
then, well, I'm fine on paper. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, do it. If
Yeah,
you want to
correct.
then make the connections later on, at some point you have to invest the time. And if you can remove this part of time, because then say, but I trust now everything to AI that it connects properly in the way that you think and so on. Yeah, you probably lose a lot of connections by doing it manually too. And I'm guessing it will be a lot more connections lost doing it manually than AI will get, especially if you build a personal assistant who learns about who you are, what you focus on, because you keep iterating. You say, what the heck? In this journal entry, it doesn't say anything what I actually think, and it will keep
Mhm.
remind me, at least if you set it up the way that we share here. And the last questions I want to cover is from Michael. Are you guys using different models based on the agent? And if so, how did you decide which agent should run which model? Also, are you switching away from Claude for some tasks I do for image generation to Gemini? Well, I just make a full stop after all the things that you said, because that's what we do. The thing is, when you talk about model in the Claude ecosystem, I experimented with it because this is a way you can save tokens. For example, the search agent or something could run on Haiku. They doesn't need to have their high model. The orchestrator I could run on Sonnet to save tokens, but in the end I ended up this complete overhaul of the app that you saw that I shared in this video. This was done without once compacting the conversation. This was the most insane thing that happened. And why is this? Because the Larry, the orchestrator, has a 1 million context window, but it delegates the work to other agents who also have all 1 million context windows. So this way, start to finish, Larry was able to keep an overview of the whole process from start to finish without compacting once and not lost any context along the way. And this was the insane thing. And all the work that was done by the agents, obviously when they stop, they lose their context again. But this was done in the working folder. We have a deliverables folder, as we call it, previously owner's inbox. And in this deliverables folder, there is the working folders. So it was 15 hours straight working nonstop on this thing. And in the folder, there was always the context. So Larry was able to then delegate again, or pointing the future agents onto this context. And it was insane how this works. And I never compacted anything. So that's why I decided to stay with one model also for Larry, because I just like how Opus works. And I just feel, but if you're on a limited cost, I'm pretty sure using Sonnet, you will be happy too. And you can save a lot of costs this way. And then when it comes to using other models like Gemini and Codex and so on, we do this too. For example, the thumbnail creation. This is something where Pixel, who runs on Opus, now sends his prompt to Gemini Nano Banana via API, and we pay API costs this way and to generate the images. But this is the great thing, because Pixel is so good trained, the outcome is always now consistent compared to going me manually to Nano Banana, trying to create this all the time. And then when I say, yeah, I have a consistent prompt to go there to do this, but your context changes all the time. Maybe you want to have something specific from your knowledge base at some that's again another API I use is Perplexity for PAX, for the researcher. So Perplexity is made for online research, and it has a perfect input and output that the AI just uses better than if Claude goes there and does manual research. I recognize this over and over again. Claude is not there yet. Also, Perplexity still has more access to the web like Reddit than Claude does. So Claude gets blocked a lot more and is not able to read specific pages. This is where there's a specific API connected to Perplexity. And the list goes on with, a lot of other things. We are using Assembly AI. We are using Max and many other things where the individual agents are connected for what they need in order to be highly efficient in their space. And this makes the whole system so efficient, because Larry never needs to load in. So the actual session chatbot never needs to load in so much context, because if you would just have one Claude.md file with all the things that I do in this business, it would be an insane Claude file. Half of the context would be pre-filled before I even write the first word, not even the tokens that I'm wasting this way. So having just the baseline and say, this is the team, these are the specialists, and I tell him, and he just looks into the specific specialist and loads then this context in, that makes it so efficient. So here we go really into the details, and we go a lot deeper in our courses. But I think this was a great session today, talking about not only design, but leveraging the knowledge and how things start to work together. And I hope you guys saw the potential there too. And let us know how you're using it in the comments below. We catch you up next week, or inside myICOR, as we are there the whole week throughout. Catch you up next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you.